So Ed, I wanted to talk about simulation, specifically when it comes to racing cars and also the automotive industry as a whole as well. This is something that's come on such a long way in the last 10, 20 years or so. One of the big uses being to help race car drivers, but also to help for the car manufacturers as well. So do you mind just speaking a little bit about why this is such a important aspect to manufacturing these days?
Well, I think you've raised an interesting point. When we think about simulation, if you go back like 20 years, we think about those sim games, and even those have evolved. And the movie that was recently out, Gran Turismo, it shows a young Jan Martenberg who dreamed to become a race car driver, couldn't afford it, and through using the Gran Turismo simulation was able to finally make it through a contest they had. And the reason for that is that there's physics behind the simulation. So it's not just a car going around the corner, but it's simulating everything from the tires to the power, the aerodynamics, whatever it takes to give you a realistic experience. And as a result of that, Formula One has a race series called the Formula One F1 Sim Racing World Championship. Each of the teams has a team there, and some of those races are actually broadcast. And then there's also the iRacing World Championship, which goes across you're going to edit this, right? Of course. All right, hold on there. That was my crazy phone. I don't know. Must have all right. Let's see. I'll pick up there. Then there's also the iRacing World Championship, which goes across numerous racing series, also tends to look at the endurance side of racing. And in fact, Max Verstappen even raced in that one when he was the same weekend that he did the Imola race. So the fact that you have this physics-based simulation also makes it a great tool for training the drivers that are in Formula One and in racing. And if you look at the complex steering wheel that they have, knowing when to press the buttons for DRS or brake balance, whatever, all of that can be done in simulation first, so that by the time you get to the track, they're very, very familiar with what's going on. Some of those simulations even take real hardware and put it inside the loop. Like you may have a power unit connected to the simulation. So you get, as you're doing the simulation and looking at what's going on in the track, you have the engine responding, a real engine responding to what the input is from the driver on the simulation. Also, strategy can be used for strategy, training the driver ahead of time as to what strategy they're going to do. And they'll even have, at a certain point in the race, what are all the possible things that could happen. You could run hundreds of different potential scenarios on what they call a Monte Carlo simulation. This is possible or that is possible. Based on that, look at all of those and figure out the one you want to do. And then finally, and this is where the application to commercial comes in, is because you have this real physics-based simulation, which is called a digital twin, it can actually be used to create a virtual car that behaves like it will actually behave in the real physical world. So that can be used for the design of the car, to make sure it has the proper structural integrity, to make sure it has the performance it's going to want, and most important, safety. For instance, like crash simulations and those types of things. So it replaces the build and break type of development with actually simulating. So the number of build and breaks are eliminated, or certainly, hopefully, you've reduced them to a great extent.
Really, really well explained there, Ed. And yeah, that also explains why, during F1 races, you might hear engineers on the wall go, say, oh yeah, we're sticking to plan B now, because they've run all through that all before the races even got underway. Yeah, they literally do millions of simulations. I think I heard someone from Oracle, who are the sponsor for Red Bull, but they actually do a lot of the simulations for them. I think they do like hundreds of millions, if not billions, of different race scenarios for each weekend. So that possibly explains why they've been doing so well recently as well. But yeah, if you want to give a suggestion for something for Ed to speak about next time, he's a former VP of Siemens Motorsport, so he's very experienced and very knowledgeable on a lot of different subjects. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this clip, and yeah, see you for the next one. Bye bye.